Under the Radar, bringing movies and people together, one frame at a time. Hey guys, I'm Randy Younger. This is a very special edition of Under the Radar, bringing movies and people together, one frame at a time. And with me today, I have a very special guest. We have actor Clark Freeman of the remastered supernatural thriller from 2016. We Go On, wonderful film. Clark, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, Robin. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure, my pleasure. So, first off, this film was came about in 2016. Tell me, how did you get involved with this crazy film?
Oh my God. Yeah, crazy film indeed. So I was involved early on. My friends Andy Mitten and Jesse Holland, who wrote and directed the piece, I went to college with, and Andy and I started a nonprofit theater company in Los Angeles ages ago. And we ran that for a while until we did our first feature film, which was called Yellow Brick Road, which kind of reached cult status as well. And We Go On was our follow-up to it a couple of years after. And they kind of wrote it with me in mind, which was very nice of them. So they asked me to be on board, and then we got an tool on board, and then it was off to the races. So early on, I was able to read it and be part of it, and really included in the process. I really appreciate it.
Now, what was it about the story that attracted you?
Um, Attracted me, well, honestly, personally, my mother passed away shortly before filming it, and they kind of wrote it around that idea of allowing me to go on a trip with my screen mother to search for life after death. So I know it was a question that Andy and Jesse had always popped back and forth. Andy being kind of the believer and Jesse being the non-believer, and then going into the process and seeing if making the movie made them feel differently about it. Uh, so I was just lucky enough to be able to, I don't know, I guess partly process my grief about my own personal life with someone like Annette, who I'd known before through Smallville. She'd worked on Smallville with my sister. Um, and so that's what attracted me to it. It was really, I was able to go through and process my own stuff as well as tell this really cool story and kind of outside the box.
So it's
So there was a lot.
basically like you're working, and it's also kind of a basically a long therapy session too for you, it seems.
Exactly, exactly. It was
Yeah.
3 weeks of incredible therapy. No, also, we still make movies. At least Annie and I do. We did two other features after We Go, and I've always either produced or acted or both in that process. I was able to work with also Jay Dunn, who plays Nelson in the movie. I went to college with
Okay.
him, and Laura Heisler, who's also in the movie. She's Andy's wife. So it is still very much a family feel of when we do it. I also brought in a buddy from Northwestern University back in the day, Steve Rifkin,
Okay.
played a small role. And so it was very. Oh, and my sister plays my mom in flashback. So again, very family oriented as it.
I love it. You got this like whole circle of friends and family in your corner on this film. It's really nice. So
It's the way to make
obviously,
a movie, so you're not stressed about anything. No.
basically, it's all people that you trust, that you know well, and that you know that you'll vibe with. And I love to hear that. That makes the film even more special in terms of my eyes. Um, Very special. So you mentioned Annette O'Toole. There's also John Glover. What was it like working with Superman royalty?
I was joking with Annette that she played, Superman's mom in Smallville, and then my name's Clark. So I was like, okay, all of your
Oh,
sons are just Clark, and then that's it.
yeah, perfect.
No, John is also, I mean, what a beautiful human being he is, just in general. We were supposed to have Annette's husband, Michael McKean, play that role, and he had
Oh,
just started filming Better Call Saul. But we thought it was only like a 3 day or 2 or 3 day requirement. So we thought, oh, we could work around the schedule. But Better Call Saul was like, no, 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 you can't have him. So I think it was, if memory serves, I think it was like a week before or a couple of days before we shot those scenes that Annette reached out to John and was like, "Can you come in and cover this role?" And John, of course, knowing Annette and Cass and me, was like, "Absolutely!" And so he jumped on board. And honestly, I think he brought such a specificity to and play. I love working with people like him and my other friend Jazz from Narcos. Like these actors that come in that don't have a preset thing they're doing. They're just in the space and they understand the role and they get to play and do things. It really added a sense of not improvisation, but freshness. And like I loved working with him that weekend. It was absolutely special.
I love hearing. I love the actor's process. I love the collaboration. Everything about the profession of acting is just really a really special thing. Because John, I believe he's in his 70s, and you could see in his eyes that he's still a little kid at heart and very playful,
Oh,
and he he just seems like a real class act. So that's really cool.
absolutely. It played a
Uh,
very serious role, but had us laughing the whole time as well. So,
right, perfect. Um, so I'm curious. There had to have been some challenges on set. What were some challenges that you faced?
uh, challenges I think with any independent small film is time and resources, right? So
Yeah.
I guess I'll tell you two quick stories.
Sure.
One, most of the movie was shot in blocks, and that means
Mm.
we have one location one day. We have to shoot every scene that we're there that day. An example that pops into my mind, and we did it even tighter. So like if we
Mm.
set up the camera one way, we shot all the scenes that had the camera set up that way, and then when we move the camera, we would just change. So we come in to visit Josephina, who's a medium at this restaurant where she works, and there were, I believe, three different times in the script, and all through the script, like pages and pages apart, where Annette and I would come into the kitchen to see her. So we'd set up the camera, shoot the first time we come in our costumes, whatever, that play out that part of the scene. Then we'd run, throw on new clothes, remind ourselves where we were in the script, and then walk in and shoot that part of the scene. So we would jump 30, 40, 60 pages of the script at a time to shoot the thing that we needed, and then turn the camera around to the other side, and then reset our costumes and try to remember where we were.
Wow.
It was a bit of a mental gymnastics depending on where we were. Um, yeah, so that
Wow.
that was tough, but good.
That's very tricky. But you made it work. The film looks great. So there you go.
Thank you. Well,
Were there
that
any?
that's the other part of
Yes. Were there any weird supernatural occurrences on set?
acting. I was so focused because I'm in much of the movie, so I was constantly on. But I believe there was a building that we shot in that had the exteriors on the fire escape, that had Josephina's apartment, that also had they call it the death room, and I don't want to ruin anything, but where Nelson leads me to. Uh, that whole building is called the Nathan something or Nathan something building. I forget what the name is. I heard from crew and things that were there that there were some strange occurrences while we were filming in that building,
Oh,
but I didn't see any firsthand. But when I'd go change costume or get makeup done or whatever, everyone was kind of like, "Oh, this place is weird." And we were there for about a week, I think. So that was it was long enough just to get
cool.
weird.
I like to hear that. As long as nobody was hurt, that's all that matters.
No, no, thankfully.
Do you have a favorite memory from the set, from the shoot?
I really enjoyed being out under the runway because we shot a lot of
Mm,
it kind of at the end of LAX, where these
right.
giant planes are taking off over us constantly. Um, that was cool, seeing some of the like monster international flights that go over, and you realize how giant these planes are.
Right.
Um, Either that or like spending evenings in the process trailer with Annette, we have the car, and then the car is on something that's being driven around so that we're not actually driving. Um,
Mhm.
just getting to spend, hours and hours with her in the car working on these scenes. Like as an actor, so much time is spent working on your craft, either in scenes or whatever, or even auditions and self tapes and whatever. But when you actually get time to get with someone to work through things in a controlled space, it's just for lack of a better word, a blessing just to be able to hang out with them and do that. So
That's so cool. I love hearing that too. Sounds like it was a really light, fun set to be on, and just having a great time. Awesome.
it was fun.
Um,
It was tight. There was some timing wise. We had to get stuff. Like we lost. There was a whole part where I don't know how much I can spoil. The movie's been out for almost 10 years, but
right, right.
towards the end, something bad happens to me and from Laura's character, and Annette was supposed to drive up and like hit her with the car. We had all this stunt stuff out, but then we were losing light and all this stuff. So we definitely didn't get everything we wanted to get. Uh, but we all worked our tails off trying to make it happen. So
Awesome. Cool. Um, Now, ultimately, this I guess is a question. This question applies to you back in 2016, and it applies even more now. But what do you hope audiences take away from We Go On Remastered?
man, I'm really excited that it's getting kind of new life because every once in a while I'll run into a friend and they'll be like, "I just saw a movie this weekend, and I think you were in it." I'm like, "Yes, yes, you were. You did see that, right?" Um, I hope I hope that they take away from it that we all have to keep like searching in life for what makes us happy and the things that we want to do, and realize the people that are important to us in our lives, and
Right.
hopefully like get as much time with them as you can, and enjoy their company for who they are without all the extra garbage and stress that hits us in life. Um, I mean, playing a character who is stressed out all the time and never smiles once in the movie, really. Uh,
Right.
to be able to just let go and realize that it's all going to be okay, and whatever you're stressed out about or worried about, it's transient, and be with the ones you love, I guess, which is weird to say for a horror movie, but yeah.
It's a great message, and by the end of this movie, I definitely wanted to go home and hug my mom. So
Yeah.
yeah, you know. So switching gears a bit, you've worked on stage, TV, and film. Do you
Mhm.
prefer one medium over the other?
I love the immediacy of theater, and it's something we even lose now. With COVID and the strikes and everything. Auditions now for actors are all self tapes, right? Mostly, where you do it at home, you kind of self produce a thing and send it off. Even being in an audition room with a reader or a casting director or someone, and having that immediate live feel is something you get from theater as well, where you're doing a performance and in the moment that you're doing a great job or that you're just floundering. So that I love about theater, but I will say the entire process of, well, for filmmaking for me, you get to be a part of each thing, right? From the editing to the music to the color correction and you can craft this that comes out. TV is a little different because as an actor, you go into TV and you do it, and then a couple months later, you see it on screen, and you're like, "Wow, that's the take they picked. Interesting." Um, but there is something immortal about those performances, right? For good or bad, is that when it's done, it's there and it's around, hopefully forever, and people can continually revisit. I mean, like We Go On. I mean, Yellow Brick Road got released, a little while, re-released again after 10 years or so, and
Right.
people get to experience it again in different places in their lives. Because I know Andy had some people come up to him with Yellow Brick Road with DVDs we've seen, like, "Will you sign this? I saw this when I was 16 and it totally ruined my mind. Thank you." Um, and now they're in their 20s and 30s, and they can go back and watch it again and have it hit them completely differently. Or let's say We Go On, you watch it, and then God forbid you lose a parent or something, and you rewatch it, and it hits you completely differently because you're like, wow, I understand what this guy's going through now. So
Right.
I love it
But
all, is
the
what I'm saying.
yeah. All right, you're a true artist, good sir, and that's great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the performances will definitely live on, through film, TV, and the memories of our stage performance. So that's really definitely profound. Um, are there any filmmakers or actors that you haven't worked with yet that you'd want to?
Oh my God. Yes, many, many of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, uh, some that I work, I did a couple seasons on Narcos Mexico, and I got to work with Michael Pena, who's
Oh,
amazing
nice.
and great, and also a drummer from Chicago. Like we're a year apart. I don't know how we didn't meet like earlier in life, but so working with him, I was like, oh, I know this is gonna be cool, whatever. But then I also met all these other incredible actors on there, Lenny Jacobson and Matt Lesher and Yul Vesquez that I still hang out with to this day. And like once you connect with people on that level, I mean, it's like going through a war, right? So you have these shared experiences, and you can it really binds you together for a long time. But like people I haven't worked with yet that I would want to, yeah, I mean the list is almost it's too much. I could just go down and just scroll through IMDb and be like, yes, 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 yes.
Nice. I love to hear that as well. A true collaborator. Collaboration is so important on a set, and yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
All right, last question. Uh,
Bring
are
it.
there any are there any projects you're working on now that you can discuss?
Yeah, I mean it's been slow for everyone, I think. And what's been happening, I guess this is always true, is you need to lean into self-creation of your own stuff, right? Again, between COVID and the strikes, productions ramped down so much that the roles out there aren't as numerous as they used to be. So trying to do things on our own. So I've been working on a feature film with my sister for years, called right now it's called All That Remains, about it's kind
Okay.
of semi-autobiographical about our father who used to smuggle paintings out of Czechoslovakia during the Cold War. Um,
Oh,
yeah, right. That
cool. I
happened.
like the I like the concept already. That's very cool.
Yeah. And so we shot a little like proof of concept short at the end of last year that's almost done. So that should be hitting festivals soon. And then hopefully that will garner some more interest from producers and financiers. And hopefully we can start shooting it in the next year or two, depending on timelines. And then I have another show I've been writing called Girl Dad, all about the increased presence of fathers in the daily care of their kids at school and things. So
Okay.
it's about a workaholic dad whose daughter gets diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. So then he has to decide what's more important, his work life that he's been working at so long and hard for, or caring for his family and being there on a day-to-day basis with them. And he gets wrapped up in this group of dads that already does that. And they kind of teach him what it's like to be a man in the matriarchal role. So it's like a dramedy, I would call it.
Cool. That sounds great. I would definitely watch all of that. And actually,
Yes.
I was lying. That was not my last question. My last question is this: as an actor, how much real life experience do you put into each role?
Um, this is a giant question. Uh,
Yeah.
every, everyone's process is different, right? What most people think of acting is someone getting to be someone else. And that to me doesn't work
Mm.
because you're then trying to make up something that isn't truthful. And the best acting and the best things you see on screen, the thing that keeps you glued to the screen is truth, right? So, whatever role I'm playing, let's say it's Miles, and we go on, he's this incredibly fearful, guarded, tight person, right? That is almost the antithesis of me. I tend to be more of a goofball and kind of way too much energy and like calm down, go sit in the corner. So what you do is you break down what this person is going through or what they're trying to accomplish, and then you find those parts of yourself that you can put into it. So you can bring your own truth to it. So you can prepare and you say, well, what if I was like this? What if I did have crippling fear? What if what if I lived truthfully under the imaginary circumstances of this character? So hopefully the truth that you see on screen is a part of you that gets that you get to work for a while. And that is the therapy, or is the magic that comes out through it, is how much of yourself can you show the world that may not be who you are in real life or what you usually do in real life. So because we all have all those pieces, right? Like we all have the ability to be nice, to be kind, to be mean, to be evil, to be whatever it is. And if you can unearth those qualities of yourself to put into the character, that's the magic, right?
That's the magic. Clark, I want
That's
to
the magic.
thank you. So We Go On Remastered is now available on enhanced Blu-ray, DVD, and digital. Uh, Clark Freeman, thank you so much for your time today. This was really great.
Of course, of course. I'm so glad we got to talk.
Yeah. So, guys, I'm Randy Unger. This has been Under the Radar, bringing movies and people together one frame at a time. We'll see you next time. Take care.